It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. Cry if I want to.
Right,
you would cry too if it happened to you.
This is not the unofficial theme of Bros Bad Gaming.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh,
I think it should be.
Oh god. Okay, so, bro, we're back.
Yeah,
it's episode 3.
Oh, should we be back?
Yes, we should.
Is it really worth it?
This is a surprisingly popular.
I don't think it
series.
is. I think there's like 10 people who watched it.
That's surprisingly popular for my channel.
They all booed.
Yeah, but it's still reaction as far as the algorithm is concerned. So, we're back again. We're at the same gem, and we're in the wonderful world of Pathfinder. Now, this is a Bros Bad Gaming that I was involved in.
We're still in Galarian, but we're now in somewhere in Andoran, near the Five King Mountains.
Yeah, not far from the Dwarven Lands. Yes.
And it's a new and exciting adventure.
It is. I remember this. This was part of our group game. There was myself, you, Kitty had her character, and one of our other friends, Brian, was also there.
Yeah.
Specifically, our classes were, you were
I was a first level rogue, and I think something like a 5th level sorcerer. Grew up on the streets, and I was a tiefling, but I could trick people into thinking I was elven or half-elven because of my looks.
I was a summoner, I was a toy maker, that's what the background was, and that was an inspiration for some of his ideas for summons. That was the original plan. It didn't really go like that. I just got the full monster list.
Yeah.
Both demons and angels and whatever else I could summon.
Yeah.
Brian was a monk.
Yes, that's right. His pretty kick-ass monk.
Who
was from
Kadira.
Kadira.
Yeah, he was Kadiran. And Kitte's character was a cleric, I believe,
that's
of
right.
Sarenrae.
Yes.
So we had a pretty decent little party. It was okay. And not Simon's friend, or the GM, his character was a fighter that was very OP.
Yeah, his fighter was tough as nails.
Ridiculous. Two-handed axe, all the rest of it. He was dressed like a bad guy, but he was a good guy because he had like black armor and shit.
Yeah, that was armor he got off a bad guy they killed in a game I GM'd, yeah.
So we're in the tavern, as I remember, and we're approached.
And yes, the party was approached by a lady in damaged armor.
Yeah.
With some bruises and scars from a recent fight or
in a scuffle.
Whatever. Yeah.
Some description.
And she tells us that she's been told that the group are local adventurers, that she's from a party that had recently gone up into the Five King Mountains searching for a lost relic. And it hadn't gone well.
No, she was as I remember, she was the last surviving member of the party.
She was the last girl.
And she wanted us, if I remember correctly, to retrieve the item that her and her party had initially gone into this location for.
And, if possible, retrieve the bodies of her 3 friends.
Her fallen comrades.
And they had been killed by, dun dun dun, a Hydra.
Yeah, Hydra. Hail Hydra!
Hail Hydra.
Yes, a monster we hadn't encountered before in any of the games so far at that point.
So we were all a little excited, like, Hydra, this will be a cool fight.
Yeah, this should be quite tough. Be quite fun. And I remember we set off. Was she in tow? I can't remember. Or was she just someone we were supposed to speak to after the fact?
I don't think she came with us because she didn't impart any knowledge of the location.
No, that's right.
She left us to try and figure it all out ourselves, even though she had just been there.
I've just been there.
Out.
Can you give us a map? No, I will not give you a map. I will not even give you directions. A vague description of the location. Just go over there.
She told us where the entrance was to the ruins of this ancient, I think it's where a burial.
It was a dwarven hold, wasn't it?
Yeah, a dwarven burial hold or something. It was
in the foot of the mountains, I believe.
Yeah. So off we went, heading.
I
thought so. You just complained about me singing. Now you're doing this.
Yeah, but I'm doing better music.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, so they head into the foothills, I guess.
Yeah,
just before the mountain.
Bit of scrubland.
When we are attacked by a band of goblins.
Yeah,
it's always goblins.
Yeah.
Always goblins.
Yeah, a couple of sharpshooters, if I remember correctly. They were really, really good rolls on those goblins with little bow and arrows.
Yeah. So we
fuckers.
get attacked by like 20 goblins.
Yeah, it was a bit of an insane encounter.
Yeah. So there's. Oh, yeah. So the table suddenly was filled with goblins, literally.
Yeah.
And we ended up having this rook with several that, to start with, as was just mentioned by Rocket, got off some pretty good shots against people who had okay armor classes. And the party were like 5th, 6th, 7th level.
Yeah,
level.
I mean, we weren't shit.
Yeah.
If I remember, I remember I had my +1 spear. I remember that was something I used to go. I think I managed to skewer a goblin with that because I very rarely got into the melee.
Yeah, you weren't terrible.
Most of the time, I was casting like support spells on summons and stuff. It was like, you get bigger, you get stronger.
Yeah, I was wielding a sword because my level of rogue allowed me to get into some combat.
Yeah.
I wasn't great. I was about as good as a 2nd level fighter or something, but that was enough. Especially against goblins, so I was just not going to waste my spells. I was just going to hack.
I remember, I think we killed roughly half of them, and they fell back into the actual entrance, and then we went into that place, because I remember the fight took place down some stairs into this first room.
Yeah, so the fight kind of continued in through an ancient collapsed...
Yeah, it was like a passageway or something.
Yeah. And then down into the bowels of the earth, fighting these goblins. That wasn't a bad fight.
That's when things went, well, bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, things then started to take
the bros
a
bad
turn
gaming
for the
route.
worse. Yeah, because up until then it wasn't too terrible. Everyone seemed to be having fun.
It was a straightforward adventure.
It was goblins again, but we had fought a lot of goblins, but you know.
But hey, the party doesn't win every time, and
yes, the party doesn't win every time.
As the motto is.
As the yeah.
So
we enter these ancient dwarven hewn corridors. Goblins have been felled. We've perhaps got ourselves a few hundred gold and maybe one or two very basic +1 items.
Yeah, it was all right.
Off one or two of the goblin.
It weren't great,
sort of
but
leaders. Yeah, and we come across a kind of almost like a hole in the wall, like it had been broken through or something.
Yeah,
and there's a ladder going down into this.
Yeah, so we basically had 2 ways to go. There was a hole in the floor not far from where we finish off the goblins on this sort of ground floor, and that had the ladder going down. And then there was the
main dwarf.
It was like a broken door or something. Yeah, that we could get through.
We had a little look at this broken bit with a ladder going down, as if something had broken through.
Yeah,
it was. You had to kind of hunker down to drag your way through it, so it wasn't very big.
Yeah, so we decided
not to go down. We assumed that was the
goblins.
Yeah, and that maybe they had a lair down there.
But we're looking for a Hydra.
Yes.
So we're not going to go down some little hole.
We forced the door, what was left of it, and we continue down the dwarven hewn corridors with ancient art on the walls.
Yeah,
of
stone carvings
and stuff of dwarven smiths and great mountains of gold and stuff like that. We come to an ancient doorway, which we managed to force open with a couple of us, and enter a strange chamber with these small pillars and a door.
There's 4 of them, if I remember correctly. 4 of these pillars.
4 pillars and a door. And it's at this point that we're asked to make some skill checks. Because we become aware that the pillars look like they can move or turn or whatever in the floor and ceiling and so forth, to be moved around the room.
And they've got all these carvings on them, which we can't decipher. We don't know what they are.
But they are the lock for the door. So I eagerly, obviously, announce, I have some skills with locks and mechanisms.
Perfect. It's good you're here.
Yeah, and so obviously I'm going to be the person for the job.
This is where you shine.
Yeah, this is a chance for me to use some of my former skills of my former life living on the streets before my abilities as a sorcerer took flight. And I'm told it's not that kind of lock.
Yeah. The look on you, I remember that. And what did the
What
GM
was
do?
the skill?
Oh, the
roll
skill
required to open this lock?
to open this lock required the skill Sense Motive. Because locks have,
I don't really have an answer.
locks have a motive, don't they? I guess the motive of a lock is to remain locked and not unlocked. So I guess you had to sense its motive.
It was just, sense
And
motive for
Who
a
was
lock.
it in the end who solved it? The monk.
The monk, who had the highest sense motive skill.
Which makes sense for a monk, because in a fight, you would use that to sense the motive of his opponent, with try and predict him.
To predict who's going to be a more dangerous opponent,
Not
and so
the
forth.
spinny pillar in the room.
So he drew out the pillars and a little graph thing.
Oh yeah, there's all these numbers and stuff he's put on it.
And our friend started to go, oh, I guess that would go there then. And, oh, yeah, do a sense motive. Yes, and now you realise this pillar moves. And so he was moving them around on the page.
Yeah.
And we thought he understood what was going on.
Well, yeah,
and everything seemed fine,
Yeah, because
didn't
Brian's
it?
not stupid. He's a smart guy.
He's into his puzzles.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, after the adventure, we took him aside and said, so you understood what that pillar thing was, how it all moved? To which he said, I had no effing idea what the hell was going on, but I was just going with it because I wanted to get on with whatever the hell was happening.
Yeah. So basically, the GM had just created a puzzle out of thin air that wasn't even a puzzle. It was just shit to do.
It was just made up
crap.
I don't know what he thought it was.
He sidelined the rogue. He sidelined you.
And used the monk to unlock a door.
Because monks are they're known for unlocking things, normally.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
It's like fighters. They're good healers. Yeah, you always hear about that, yeah.
That's who you'd have
Yeah.
as the healer.
It's like,
Because why wouldn't you,
this
again?
Chad-looking fucker, and he's casting healing spells. Yeah, that's what you do.
That's how that works,
Yeah,
isn't it?
In the GM's topsy-turvy world, yes.
But
we get the door open.
So these double doors with
These ornate doors.
ancient symbols of dwarven might and kingliness.
Yeah, I think it's a dead king's tomb we're entering, yeah.
So, like it rumbles and creaks, and
it's going to be so good.
Massive doors. So we're all convinced this is it.
Yeah.
The doors are massive. This must be where the Hydra is lairing.
Yeah, it's got to be right.
Maybe. Though how it got in there and locked the mechanism.
And why this woman didn't tell us beforehand that there was a pillar puzzle that you had to rotate.
Is it going to go back to its original state and lock us in?
How did she get out, if that was the case?
So we're wondering all these questions out loud, and Not Simon's Friend is just sat there quietly, not really answering or saying anything. But finally, we draw our weapons and stuff, and we charge into the chamber. The chamber's quite large, but there's no Hydra, and there are no bodies. Instead, there are more goblins, about 8 of them.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge number.
Yeah, although one of them was a bit bigger than the others, so we were like, oh, this must be the goblin leader.
The Roy D. Magoo one, yeah.
But the goblins were not alone, dear listener. No. For with them, there was
Brobane.
Brobane, yes.
Yes, there was Brobane, the Gorgon.
A Gorgon, snarling and its hooves dragging at the floor.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, there are 2 types of Gorgon in Fantasy. There's a bull-like Gorgon that's more like looks like a construct, doesn't it, with kind of gas coming out of its body. Yeah. And then there's the traditional Gorgon with the Medusa-like hair and.
Yeah, I don't know why that.
They both share the same name, but this was the bull-like one that was in the room.
Because I've always just Medusas are a Medusa. I don't know where the Gorgon name came from.
I think that's because it's from the Greek myth. I think the monster that he kills is called the Gorgon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we run in. I remember the monk and myself. We went up front.
Now the monk could move much faster than everyone else.
Yeah, because he could leap.
Yeah, he could like clear huge distances really fast. So he decided he was going to try to control the Gorgon's movement by just going straight in at it.
Yeah, he jet leads across the room.
And he's got really good saves. So the chance of the Gorgon turning him to stone compared to everyone else was he had the best chance of resisting. And he was just going to try and kind of like hold it in the corner and just start laying into it.
Yeah.
You moved in as quickly as you could and started casting
Yeah,
to summon.
I'd summoned my Eidolon at this point,
Yeah.
so that thing was going in at it as well, and
Yeah.
I was buffing that.
And myself, I moved in and cast a spell into a fireball that killed, I think, 3 of the
the
goblins.
Yeah, they got incinerated.
And injured the larger goblin.
And I think Kitte's one, but I think she like fucking flame struck another group, didn't she? She did something right.
Yeah,
really
she did a cleric based attack, and she only kind of moved into the doorway.
The
'cause she wanted
goblins
to stay
were
back.
the goblins were being dealt with pretty handily by turn 1.
Yeah, they we'd already killed 2 or 3 of them, and so it was their turn because we'd sort of won initiative and we'd all charged
we were
in.
a lot quicker.
And so the Gorgon went first. The assumption was the Gorgon was going to try to destroy our monk. He was prepared for it even breathing on him, perhaps to turn him to stone straight away.
Yeah.
But no, dear listener, the Gorgon had other ideas,
For this
apparently.
was Brobane.
For the Gorgon ran straight past the monk, allowing him to have what's called an attack of opportunity in 3rd edition, or Pathfinder as
Pathfinder,
we were playing.
yeah.
And so he injured it a tiny bit. It ignored
the
next
Eidolon.
person, the Eidolon, that
Like,
was only a step behind.
She like slashed it with her claws as it ran past.
Also doing a bit of damage, ignored her. It ignored the next nearest person.
That was me. I stabbed it with the spear as it ran past, which it completely ignored.
And crashed straight into my character, who was not the furthest away, but the
third player character, essentially.
Yes.
Away.
Yes. And mauled me. So it basically, its
big
horns
stone head
slammed into me. Its sort of iron-ridged head crushing into my bones.
Yeah.
And he rolled for its damage. 39 points of damage.
Oh, yeah.
I had 23 hit points.
And then he trampled on the corpse.
And then he said, "Oh, it's doing a trample." And I was like, what? for another 10 points of damage. So we're now on 49 points of damage. How many hit points have you got left? He asks in this knowingly kind of way, to which I said, I had 23. I am way over the threshold. I am incredibly dead. Oh, I didn't realise.
I remember you saying, like, "Oh, great, I'm dead, thanks." And
Yeah.
you just fucking got up and walked away and sat down in the...
Then he said, to defend himself, "Well, you cast a fireball." And to which I said, "At the goblins? I never touched the Gorgon."
Yeah.
Then he said, "Well, you were its most obvious foe." To which I then said, "Not the monk or the strange
Bird woman
bird,
thing.
winged bird clawed thing that was right in front of it, or nearly right in front of it." No.
He had an agenda. He wanted to kill you.
He wanted to kill me
because you were unhappy with the disability.
he knew I was miffed because it was constantly being pointed out that the rogue of the party who had the skill for unlocking locks had been sidelined for the monk who unlocked doors. And so I had started making jokes about making moves like
sense motive the door.
Sense motive doors open, sense motive to bring down opponents, sense motive rolls for casting spells.
Yeah.
And he was in a mood. No one in the room, by the way, agreed with him. Even the guy playing the monk literally thought it was weird.
Yeah, it was
This
very
made
fucking
no
strange.
sense.
Because the Gorgon died pretty much the next turn. That's right. Because it had taken so much damage in 2 turns from being hit by everybody multiple times.
Yeah, that it got to turn round, I think... yeah, because the cleric then charged in behind and struck it.
Yeah.
And then the monk who could move halfway across the room without...
Yeah, he just cartwheeled over and
he
punched
just
it.
he just flew through the air and kicked the crap out of its head. And then I think your Eidolon slashed its face off, and that was it.
And at that point, I remember the rest of that adventure we obviously looted. I think I had my Eidolon basically carrying what was left of your trampled body.
There was another door, wasn't there, with a circular room?
We did that. We opened the door. There was this like completely circular room, like a ring that was around this central pillar, basically large central pillar. And we found what looked like another door or edifice, something like that. And there was another puzzle, but I think that one was just literally just a skill check on something. That opened, and inside was the item that we were looking. Well, the other party originally was looking for, this crown of this dwarven king.
Yeah.
And I think it was me, or it might have been Kitty. One of the two of us could detect what magic was on it.
Yeah.
And we found out that it had a resurrection spell. How convenient.
How convenient.
Because this dwarven crown, of course, would he's just there with a resurrect spell ready in his crown, just in case. Not like it'll benefit him if he gets killed. It's not going to auto-activate or anything. Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows?
But it was a heavy incentive from the GM, wasn't it? Oh yeah, you can resurrect the bro's character now.
Because you could see how pissed everyone in the room was. Everyone had pointed out how it made no sense what the Gorgon had done.
It was fucking stupid.
And he was trying to argue it, and our friend Brian was like, but I was the first person to hit it. I did the most damage in the attack. I was right in its face. The Eidolon was like a step back, but she had like her claws could have reach or whatever, and that's why she could still hit. And he was still trying to argue that killing my character made the most sense for this bestial creature.
Yeah, not very intelligent creature, apparently. It could tactically decide which one it was going to kill.
Yeah.
So we resurrected you, didn't we?
Yeah.
So you were now, was it a level down or something?
Yes.
From resurrection. So you were weaker. And then we just left.
We trundled out with questions like, how did the goblins get in the room?
Get in the room.
What were they doing in there if the door was locked?
Why were they hanging around with a Gorgon? Was that their pet?
How would did they tame it somehow?
Yeah, because I don't think they can be tamed, can they? But so I remember.
So we've got the crown. The crown's still worth money because it's gold.
Yeah, it's an heirloom of some king. Yeah.
And so we march our way back through the tunnels. There's no other ways to go. We head out into the nighttime cool air. We set up a camp. We discuss the strangeness.
The lack of Hydra.
Yeah. And head back to the
I'd said
the town.
I'd said to not Simon's friend, I said, so was the Hydra down the little hole in the floor?
Clearly the goblins had made with the little ladder.
And all he did was eyebrow wiggle at me.
He just raised an eyebrow.
Because he has this trait where when he thinks he's being kind of I don't know, wouldn't you like to know? He does this thing where he just kind of like wiggles his eyebrows independently of one another, like it's some kind of fucking language, and that's all he did to me. So all I can assume is that, oh well, maybe it was, but you didn't go down there. So he basically admonished us, didn't he?
Yeah. So when we started questioning it, he started basically getting a little bit testy and angry
because there was no Hydra,
and saying that's your fault. You've just marched off. That's your own fault. Well, we weren't told anything from her that we had to go through a
strange
tiny
puzzle,
little hole that we'd have to go on all fours to get through to a rickety, like wooden thing down. Like, how does the Hydra get in and out?
How did it get in there? Did it make any sense?
Why did they decide that was the route they were going to take instead of the obvious corridor of the dwarfs that continued on?
Well, it doesn't matter. They would have been crushed by a Gorgon, apparently. So
yeah,
it would have been the same difference.
If they could get the door open. I guess if they had a handy cleric in the party, they'd be able to unlock the door.
No, it'd be a monk.
Oh, monk in the party.
Yeah.
They'd be able to
Sherlock Monk.
Sherlock Monk, that's right. Yeah.
You should need one of them to sense motive.
So we return to the small town or village. We return to the...
she's still at the tavern.
She's still at the tavern recovering. Oh, did you get it? Yeah, here's the crown. Oh, what happened to my party, the bodies of my friends?
Don't know.
We don't know. We never found them. Were they in the... Did you go down? So you're basically now have stuck a lamp in her face across the table. Where did you go? When you entered the place, did you go down a ladder into a thing? What exactly was down there? What did you see? Why did you not mention this? With like this light in her eyes and all the room around has gone dark and you're playing bad cop.
Yeah.
And he started getting like in character for her, like angrily defensive.
Yeah, it was fucking weird.
I don't have to tell you anything.
I just wanted to know what the fuck it was, because at that point I started to think, was she a baddie? Was that a trap?
Was there ever anyone down there?
Like, was she trying to get us killed or something? Because at that point, I was suspecting, like, that you had no party, there was no friend, we didn't find anybody.
Yeah, so
no
he's
Hydra.
just, like, really interrogating her.
What the fuck?
And the GM starts getting, like, really, like, a chip on his shoulder, because other people have also mentioned, where was the Hydra? We all got excited to fight a Hydra. We thought we were going to get, like, treasures of a Hydra and stuff.
I didn't want to kill a stone bull.
Yeah, and so he got... but it was Rocket that was really, like, having a go at the NPC.
So it gets to the end of the night in game.
So end of the night, he decides he's going to head up the rickety stairway.
Yeah, I'm going up to my room.
Staircase to his room. When suddenly, on the rickety, narrow stairs, he gets backstabbed by an unknown assailant.
Apparently, I walked past an invisible man with a knife who just somehow just flattened himself perfectly, and I walked past him, and then he sidles in between us and just stabs me.
There's like three of us going up the stairs. How was he
stabs me in the spine. And then, like, a fucking insane rook kicks off. But, of course, because we've got a monk in the party who doesn't need to worry about his armour, you just beat him to death in, like, 2 rounds.
And then we were told, oh, it was just a random rogue.
Oh, yeah, just a random rogue. Just
nothing to do with anything.
During the fight, I was just saying to Simon, I was just saying, like, my character's clutching his back because there's a knife lodged in it. Like falling down the stairs while everyone else is trying to leap on this invisible dude to beat him to death because he's trying to murder us.
Oh my god! Oh, it made no sense. And then that was the end of the game.
That was the adventure.
Yeah, the woman sold the crown to some dealer or whatever, dwarven dealer, and we got our share of the money.
And you got some XP to getting back to the level you were.
Yeah, well, if I could pay enough, I could pay to have a spell cast that would give me a chance to recover my
I think we did. I think because we had plenty of cash, I think we just paid for that.
Yeah, I think it's like 1,000 gold.
Because we all thought, well, that's bullshit. We'll just get his level back.
Yeah, what was the point of resurrecting him if he's now going to be a level behind everyone else?
I remember, as an addendum to this tale, there was the next game you GM'd, I remember, when his character was sat at a table in the same tavern. I think you had a halfling or so, or a gnome, walk under the table and kick him in the butt.
And I said it was just a random...
just a random gnome.
A random gnome attack.
And he's like... I didn't see this. No, you didn't see it at all.
You didn't see anything?
No,
you didn't see anything. You were completely unaware. No roll could help you.
He
just got kicked in the balls.
Yeah, took like constitution damage,
like 15 points of non-thingy damage, and had to do a roll not to fall on the floor moaning in pain.
Yeah, so that was a weird one. It's not my first experience of Not Simon's Friends GMing experiences. I could throw in a bonus one if you want, as a solo experience.
Yeah, go on.
All right, so totally different game. So the footage that's going to be on this won't match because I don't have any Vampire Masquerade stuff. But the very first game I ever played with the group, I made a gangrel, and he wasn't particularly well written up or anything. But he had a motorbike, and he was a bit dirty, God, and all the rest of it. But the very first game is I'm turning up. In LA, because we're going to the Annex City. Anyone who knows Vampire Masquerade when it was originally out, LA was like the neutral ground place where you could basically have any kind of characters and parties and stuff. And Not Simon's Friend is GMing, and I just get randomly told, because all of our characters are new, so there's all these little individual bits going on, different people in the house getting pulled aside.
So we're creating our coterie.
Yeah, there's all these different chats going on.
How do we know each other? We've had these little side chats to try to create our coteries. So you're supposed to have, like, they'll write up coteries of NPCs and stuff, and how they feel towards each other and whether they've got their own individual plans. And that's what we were doing to add that aspect to the game.
And what Not Simon's Friend was doing was he was pulling people aside for little solo bits. And my one was, I'm on my bike, I'm driving along the freeway, and all of a sudden I get hit by oncoming traffic. This was strange to me because at no point had ever said that I was driving on the wrong side of the road. But no, apparently, I get hit head on by a car, go flying, my bike's ruined, which is my vehicle that I started with, so that was pointless to buy in character creation. I roll her on the floor multiple times, and before I can get up and dust myself up and go, wow, that was weird, an ambulance has turned up.
Oh, yeah, instantly.
2 paramedics.
I think it was a TARDIS. You just appeared.
If this could be animated, it'd be amazing. An ambulance turns up. 2 paramedics leap out the back. They immediately check my body before I've even had a chance to go, what? He goes, oh, he's dead. There's no heartbeat.
Yeah, there's no pulse.
I'm in a body bag before I know it. In the back of the fucking ambulance.
And it's driving off.
And they're driving off to the hospital. And I'm like, do I... Can it... What the fuck? So I just say, I guess I'll just open the body bag. And he's like, oh, you sure about that? I'm like, well, yeah, because I don't want to go to the hospital. I'm trying to go to the downtown LA. Oh, okay. And so I open the body bag, and he says, oh, they see you. Oh, they see you. You're not dead. I'm like, so? And he says...
People have been mistaken for dead and even taken to morgues.
But he had the paramedics freak out. They almost crash, and I kick the back door of the ambulance, I just leap out the fucking thing, taking damage rolling down a hill, and then I just have to walk the rest of the way. And that was my first ever experience, I think, of Not Simon's GMing.
Yeah.
It was great. It was it was fucking random. But that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he did once GM a game so bad, I wasn't there for it, that when I turned up the next day, everyone begged me to tell him to stop GMing and to start GMing a totally different system.
Do you have the details of that one? Because that would be a future episode.
I wasn't there for the game, you see.
Oh, but you weren't told what happened to make it so bad?
I was told by Jim. Jim's dead, Jim.
Oh.
Our friend Jim. That it was so bad that people were getting, frustrated and angry.
All right, we may have to save any details for, a micro compilation at some point.
Yeah.
All right, but this is gone long enough. So that was the Hydra plus bonus vampire bit.
It's my party and I'll cry if I want to.
This is not the outro theme.
Cry if I want
Thanks
to.
for listening, everybody.
Cry if I want
and we'll see you next time for BBG 4.
If it happened to you.
Say goodbye to the good people.
Goodbye to the good people.